He had no mercy, no hesitation, and no regrets. Known as the Earthquake, he ruled the docks of New York with blood-stained hands. But before he was feared as the Lord High Executioner, he was just a teenage immigrant chasing the American dream. What transformed a longshoreman into the co-founder of the Mafia's deadliest hit squad? Today, we unravel the chilling story of Albert Anastasia, the man who helped create Murder, Inc., born Umberto Anastasio in Calabria, Italy in 1902. Albert's story begins in poverty. After losing his father, he emigrated to Brooklyn at 15, where he worked as a longshoreman. But the docks weren't just for hauling cargo. They were breeding grounds for organized crime. And Albert? He didn't just survive. He dominated. By 19, he had already committed murder. For that, he was sentenced to death. But the conviction mysteriously vanished after witnesses disappeared. The system couldn't hold him. The Mafia saw potential. Albert's true break came in the 1930s. He aligned with Lucky Luciano and Meyer Lansky, reforming the American Mafia into a corporation of crime. To enforce this new world order, Anastasia co-founded the most terrifying group in mob history, Murder Incorporated. Murder Inc. wasn't just a nickname. It was an actual company of hitmen, hundreds of them, paid on salary to eliminate anyone who posed a threat. Albert was the boss, judge, and sometimes the executioner. He earned the nickname the Lord High Executioner, not out of fear, but admiration. Even the Mafia feared him. Albert didn't just run death squads. He took over the entire New York waterfront. Through unions, bribery, and fear, Anastasia built an empire of extortion. Nothing came in or out of the city's ports without his say. Even the U.S. government couldn't ignore him. During World War II, Anastasia struck a deal with the Navy to protect the ports from sabotage. In exchange for influence, he was now not only powerful, but untouchable. In 1951, after years of shadow control, Albert officially became boss of the Mangano crime family. But something changed. Paranoia, rage, and brutality overtook him. He murdered Vincent Mangano, his own boss, and took over the family by force. This was a step too far. His enemies grew. Rival bosses began whispering. One of them was his own underboss, a man named Carlo Gambino. October 25th, 1957, Albert Anastasia enters the barbershop at Manhattan's Park Sheraton Hotel. He sits down for a shave. Moments later, two masked men storm in and open fire. He never saw it coming. Or did he? Here's the twist. No one was ever arrested, but everyone knew who was behind it. Carlo Gambino. Gambino took Albert's throne, and his name lives on in the infamous Gambino crime family. As for Albert, he died in a puddle of his own blood, mid-shave, surrounded by mirrors that only reflected his downfall. Albert Anastasia was a man of contradictions. A killer who enforced loyalty, a soldier who aided the U.S. Navy, and a boss who met his end in one of the most cinematic murders in Mafia history. But here's the mind-blowing part. To this day, rumors persist that Albert faked his death. Some say the body in the barbershop wasn't his, that the Lord High Executioner disappeared and lived under a new name. True or not, his legacy lives on, not just in crime war, but in every story of loyalty turned to betrayal and power built on blood. Because in the world of the Mafia, the only thing deadlier than a bullet is ambition.